Restoring Illinois to greatness. This is Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Opportunity Project and hosted by AM 560's Dan Proft.
Dan, back with Brian Timpone in this edition of Rising. And so the big question, Brian, for Republican primary voters that's always asked in these things, it was the same question that was asked and answered just 2 years ago. People have no institutional memory, of course. Mark Kirk versus Tammy Duckworth. Mark Kirk didn't face much of a primary, but nonetheless it was, do you vote for the lesser of two evils or do you skip the race? What are you going to do?
I'm going to skip the race or vote for Pritzker.
Really? You're considering voting for Pritzker?
Yeah.
You want a job at the Water Reclamation District, or why? Why would you consider doing
that? I think that if you look at the results in the primary, and really what strikes me is the disengagement. Like, people aren't coming to grips with what's really happening in the state, and it can't get better before it gets worse. So we have to make it worse, and the way to make it worse is to give the Democrats what they wanted. You know, we've talked a lot about how the Democratic Party, led by Madigan, didn't ever push to the extreme to try to preserve their majorities in the House and the Senate. They didn't do it until Rauner came into office. That's when they started pushing this agenda because they wanted a Republican governor to support those things, not a Democrat. Look, Rauner will be behind us, and we'll have an all-Democrat majority, and they'll start pushing these things, and we're going to see massive property tax hikes in Cook County specifically, and a progressive income tax. And when we have the debate, when the enemy kind of shows what it really is about, then we can actually have we can rebuild the party and broaden the base. Right now, the biggest problem the Republican Party has is that suburban Republican voters are voting with the city. They're not recognizing that they aren't voting their suburban interest. And until they do, there's no Republican Party in the state.
Well, is there any prospect that when it gets worse, there's going to be a better, or will Illinois just become kind of a macro version of San Francisco, the champagne socialists and the beneficiaries of transfer payments and nothing in between?
It's not going to become that, because that's not the makeup of our demographic. It's not our population. You know, this is not a California population. California has a lot of rich people and a lot of really poor people, and it's really unique in that way. Illinois doesn't. It has a massive middle class. It has a very rural population.
Shrinking. Cities hollowing out.
It has a lot of gun owners. It has the consummate suburbs of America, thanks to John Hughes enshrined that. So this is a place that
yeah, but I don't think reruns of 16 Candles are going to save us. My point is in the suburbs. The point is to say 200,000 people left in the last 2 years. Why would the exodus stop?
Well, the exodus stops once we have a new majority, but it doesn't stop until we do. So you're right. I don't think there's anything that's going to stop an exodus in the next year. But I look 2 years into Pritzker's term. Pritzker is going to try to push these ideas, which are absolutely insane. People will wake up and see. And look, property taxes are the issue. It's a bill you pay. And Fritz Cagle, the new Cook County assessor, wants to make them fair. He's going to double property taxes on, let's say, the productive areas of Cook County, the Loop, and also northern suburbs and the western suburbs where I live. And when he does that, people are going to have a distinctly different view of their local politics. They're no longer going to be so obsessed with transgender birth certificates when they can't keep their house.
Yeah, it's really interesting too. Fritz Cagle is like, oh, yeah, Joe Barrios deposed. It's a blow for good government and reform and restructuring. Okay. We'll see. We'll see about that. Put another West Suburban Cook liberal in there, who really believes some things other than putting his family on the payroll, and just see how bad it could get.
Right. I mean, look, the reality of the Cook County system is that Joseph Barrios, he held things together in a way. He held the scam together, because if you actually did charge the real property tax rates for these downtown buildings, there'd be no Loop. You couldn't charge the Sears Tower taxes on its real value, because no one would want to own it. It'd be empty. It'd be uneconomic. And we're about to face that reality. Jeannie Ives said on election night that Illinois has a math problem. So does Cook County.